Today guys, today's video is not gonna be just about any ordinary Nokia phone. Today's phone will be very interesting to look at, and is definitely for sure the most expensive and most rare Nokia phone I've ever had. This is a Nokia 6260. Let's get on with it. First of all, the specifications. The Nokia 6260 was produced back in 2004. It had a 2.1-inch display with a resolution of 167 by 208 pixels, and it looked really clear and good at the time. It had a VGA camera, really weirdly sidely placed, just like the fingerprint sensors we have on phones today, with the fingerprint sensor also being on the side. But this thing had a camera on the side, which was, although just a normal VGA module, was pretty darn uncommon to see in displays, and also very uncommon to see in a flip phone. And this phone was not just an ordinary cheap Nokia. It also had a 760 mAh battery, which is actually one of the main reasons why this Nokia didn't really sell that well. Well, it sold 2 million units, but still, this thing is like way rarer than even the very expensive Samsung D500, which was nothing special back in the day, but now it's really expensive and a very good phone. It also had a 65K color screen, which looked really contrasty, and it had TFT technology. It also was one of the first iPhones with storage expandability. It came with a 6 megabytes, a 32 megabyte RS-MMC card, which I still have. I just got it out of the phone, and it is sitting right here. So it has storage expandability, and I have one here. Obviously 32 megabytes, not that much, but let's be honest, in my drawer here, I have a 64 megabyte micro SD card, so see that this isn't even that bad. Consider 64 max is like horrendous for an SD card, and 32 megabytes is just okay and was just good back in the day, and it also has 6 max of internal storage. And the battery is also the problem that is this thing from causing Abdun. I will talk about it later. But its main features were also it had a Symbian 7.0 S user operating system, along with Nokia Series 60 V2.0 user interface. It had a Texas Instruments OMAP 1510 processor running at 123 megahertz, and the architecture is a ARM 925T, which is quite surprising that it is an actual ARM processor, which was one of its main features at the time, because that's mobile technology. ARM is mobile technology, and it saves much better battery life than any other standard processor that we use in really high-end phones. But those were all prototype phones, so this was a very good phone back in its day because it had a quite powerful at the time mobile processor. I mean, just to give you a perspective how powerful 123 megahertz is, it is definitely not even as powerful as like a elderly phone from 2014. I mean, I've seen someone taking apart an elderly phone from 2014, and that one had a 600 about 400. It had a 400 megahertz MediaTek CPU in it, and that absolutely smashed this thing. But come on, man, that's 21st. That is 10 years of technology after, and that thing runs like the crappiest UI ever. This thing runs pure Symbian, pure Nokia OS. It also can play MP3 ringtones, which was quite surprising because Nokia didn't implement this much at all in their flip phones before this. And it has this port, and I don't have the headphones for this, but I have some of them. And really surprisingly, it has Bluetooth built in, which was also one of its main features. It has Bluetooth 1.1, and since is it Java compatible? It also has an infrared port, which is also quite good, and it has USB functionality, but it's proprietary because it's on the back. It has WAP 2.0 with XHTML, and really surprisingly, it has HTML support built in. And wow, that's a huge surprise to me. Do you want to know how big of a surprise that was? The first ever iPhone, just to give you this perspective, 3 years later, the original iPhone came out, and that thing didn't even support HTML. Android probably took like until, I mean, browsers, it was the browsers. It was not Android 10 or iOS. It were the browsers that were just not supporting HTML. And I'm really tempted to put my SIM card in this thing now. I already was going to do that, but with HTML support, man, you can browse the internet on this thing. That's gonna be really interesting. I am gonna try to get WhatsApp on this thing. I'm gonna try. It's ridiculous that I'm gonna do that, but come on, man. Hair Ruben phone collector. Why shall we not do that? And yes, it came with a BL4C battery, but it was bloated, and that's one of the reasons why the power supply broke. And yet, that is the reason why this thing broke. I'm gonna tell you that now. I got this phone for free in a phone lot. And that phone lot was like 2 years ago, back when I got my power bar. And with power bar, you probably I got this thing the day that I got this thing, which I think even the warranty on this thing is expired. I had 2 years of warranty, and I think it's now gone. And I bought this thing from like 28. No, my mother gave to me from 2018 to 2019 or something. I needed a new one because my other ones were really unsafe. They didn't have any shortage protection, and they didn't even have surge protection. You can just put a charger just really loose in there and it would explode. I've had that before. It was really uncomfortable and it absolutely scared the crap out of me. So I'm really happy with this one. So yeah, then you can see how long I got this phone. Yes, I put something in between the battery. It's not bulging, don't worry. And I only have one BL4C battery, which really sucks. I have to get a new one. I may get a rip-off one for $2 because don't really want to spend much on this phone, but I probably need a new BL4C because this one is starting to fall apart. And yeah, the power supply is broken. And why? Well, when you turn this thing on and you listen and you put your ear on the battery cover, you can hear like a hissing sound. You hear like like electricity noise. You know what I mean? And yeah, that is just a shortage. The power supply in this thing is had a short circuit at one point. I googled it and I finally know why this thing is kind of broke. And I'm really lucky because a lot of Nokia 3310s have this where the power supply will go bad inside the phone. And all my 3310s have this, by the way. I mean, I think the power supply was. I think I actually have one with a dead power supply. And with power supply, I just mean a power amplifier or and a power disamplifier that will give the phone the right amount of power. And these rot away really easily, and these can't be replaced without a whole motherboard replacement, which is impossible on a 3310. I mean, on a smartphone, this can't happen because smartphone power supply will actually emit heat, and these old power supplies can't do that. And they won't overheat or something, but their transistence it gets way worse over time. And on the 3310s, they just die. I mean, I couldn't get my 3310 to work today. I really want to put my SIM card in there, but it just wouldn't work. It turned on once and then it just died. I mean, it is also kind of the battery's fault, but consider how much I cleaned the pins and um, put some compressed air in it. It's a power supply that just has to charge up on those 3310s. And this is also the reason why they sell 1200 milliamp hour batteries for 3310s. These are gigantic batteries that last like 1 year and they will keep the power supply going like fine. I mean, I put the original battery in my 3310 and nothing is happening. So yeah, that's what happened with this, but this had even worse since this power supply is a bit newer and eats a ridiculous amount of power. I mean, this BL4C is fully charged and it will die in like 10 minutes if you're lucky. But what this does is this power supply had a short circuit at one point, so it just died and made a little pop noise, and that made the battery blow over time. But what it also does is when you have to hold this in, you have to push a little bit on the back, which is really annoying. I mean, the back is okay; it's not bended or anything. Don't worry about the back cover, okay? Um, to let the power supply pass through power, which is really annoying. And what it also does is when you don't press hard enough and you turn it on, it will show a white screen. Everything will fade and it will show a white screen and it will turn off eventually, which is really annoying because this phone is absolutely amazing and really hard to get, especially in this color. Surprisingly, I thought the black color was gonna be like a killer color that no one could get and it's really hard to get. But no, this color is actually even more rare and the paint is really weak, man. Oh yeah, and it's starting to turn on. It also has a really rare boot up sound, so I'll be silent for that. I'll let you guys listen to that. Let's just unplug it, because otherwise, It will say it's charging and not make the sound. Low refresh rate. Holy cow. If you saw and the screen will flicker a bit right now, and it just died on me. I mean, I've never had before that this thing just died on me without doing the white screen of death, as I call it. The WSOD, let's just call it the WSOD, we don't care. There we go, we just put it on the charger. I mean, with a short circuit, oh my god, it fully works now, holy cow. Oh wow. Oh, and he just died on us. With a short circuit and the power supply, these power supplies can handle this. They're made. And when you drop your phone, this could also happen, but with smartphones, this is impossible because they're just way safer and just way better built. And the whole power supply is stored in a charger, but that leads to another problem. If you don't buy a good charger, it will basically short circuit because Chinese chargers will always put out the max amount of power they have, even when nothing is connected. And that's why you should never buy Chinese chargers because they're always on max. They don't slow down in terms of power. Oh my god! I fully charged this battery. I swear to God. And you're probably thinking, why am I not putting a BL5C in it or a BL5CB? Well, both of them don't fit, which is really, really annoying. I have no idea what they did. So yeah, and I found this BL4C in just one of my Nokias, another flip phone. That one has a broken screen ribbon cable, which is going to be impossible to reset. Oh my gosh, this poor phone, dude. Let's just not put it on a charger, because that will put more strain on that power supply. I just put a piece of tape in here just for the sake of it, and there we go. And we are gonna put in that crazy little card, and there is a SIM card in here, and it's unlocked, which is absolutely grateful. I mean, tell me in the comments if anyone of you guys have this phone that is locked, because if so, you're probably gonna be mad at it because locked phones suck, especially the ones from Orange. Don't tell me why how I know that. Um, but you don't have to be mad at it. You have to be really happy with it because it's super rare. And these are one of the contact points for that power supply. I think, yeah. I could charge the power supply just by putting in the wire connection that I did in my previous video. But I can't do that because these are just straight pins. These aren't like pins that are bended or something, so you can put them really carefully and just curl them around so they will fit really good, if you know what I mean. But no, these won't do that because these are not very good pins. And by the way, I might not buy a AliExpress fake battery because they may not fit, and even if they fit, they're not really safe, especially with a power supply that has died. Oh wow, this is quite a bit tighter. This might work. I'm just gonna pause the recording out until this thing is working. But you're probably thinking, hey Ruben, why does this phone turn on but not charge correctly? I mean, it does charge, but it does show the charging screen first. Well, that is because the power supply doesn't really work that good anymore, and that is because the phone needs a really, really low amount of power just to power on. Just at least to do that, so yeah. And sometimes, I mean, I got this phone to fully work without even having to press that back over once. I mean, it was excellent, but it just started to die on me the next day, so yay. Oh, I mean, I'm not gonna have to hold my phone really tight while typing a message. And worst thing is that these buttons are like this. So yeah. And even if you turn it like this, I mean, it hasn't even. It has not that. Oh, I almost want to say the screen ribbon cable is not the issue here, but it may be. I mean, this thing is an absolute chunkster. Let's be honest. I mean, it is quite a bit more comfortable to hold it like this. What happens when I put it on a table or something? For real now. This was a legendary Nokia. It sold worse than the SCH D500, which, come on guys, that is just a regular Samsung phone compared to this. I mean, this is an absolute gem in Nokia history, to be honest. It had this crazy flip hinge. It was really expensive. I mean, the camera's kind of crap, but I guess it's alright. It's not the worst. Okay, it's not the worst. I mean, I've seen 2 megapixel. I mean, the worst camera I've ever seen was a 2 megapixel one. So don't worry. Yeah, and this is the first foldable phone because you can also just put it like this, although you can't put it further. But who the hell would do that? You can also take selfies with it though. And my main favorite function is just, I mean, how to be badass in the classroom. Just do this, do this. I mean, this two-tone hinge is excellent. It's never gonna break down on me probably. And just say, hey teacher, look at this. Bam, and you're the best in class. I mean, excellent, dude. This design is absolutely amazing. And I would really love to get another one of these. If I see one of these at the first shop, I will buy them. Even if they're $10, I will buy it. And at least if my dad or mom doesn't let me buy it, I will take out the battery because that is free. Okay. So see you later. Have a good day, and keep on loving on this phone.